several reasons a business might need a valuation. Typically what I'll see is a transition from one generation to the other. That's the major thing that we're seeing right now. But maybe it's a merger and acquisition issue. You want to sell your business and I want to buy it. So how do we determine a value? A lot of times, though, it also is there's a death or there's a divorce and you own a business and we have to determine what that value is. I would really give them the advice of if you need it today, you really should have seen your advisor about 2 years ago, and consequently, if you think you're going to need this in the future, start talking to a professional now, because I think it's real important to know what those drivers of the value are, and if you know what those drivers of the value are, you've got some time to position your company to increase that value. So that's a real important point. Unfortunately, it's kind of like preventative medicine. It sounds good and it's good for you. It's just it's hard to sell the client on it. In almost every agreement, there is or should be a buy-sell agreement. And what that buy-sell agreement does is, if you and I enter into a partnership or some type of corporate agreement, we're going to have some agreements to say what happens if I get mad and leave or if I die and whatever, and that's going to describe how we determine what the value is that you're going to pay my spouse or I'm going to pay your spouse, etc. Everybody pays a lot of attention of how you buy into that. Very few people pay much attention to that transaction of how you're going to get out of it, because that's it's not going to happen to me. It's never going to come into play, but it becomes very important. And it's very costly if it's not written right. Once you establish a value, then a discount might apply. For instance, if you own less than 50%, the minority interest discount, means that you probably don't have as much control of the stock or the partnerships. To me, it's best illustrated to say if I have 49 cents here in my hand, how much would you pay for? How much would you give me for it? Would you give me 49 cents? But if I and my partner have $1 in a partnership and I own 49% of that partnership, and you know that he's never going to get that money out of that partnership, now how much would you pay me for that 49% of that dollar? If you think about it, it's going to be less than 49 cents, and it's maybe substantially less.